right, today we are talking about the Better Kenmore Community Development Corporation, and I'm with Josh Gippin. How are you?
Doing great.
Yeah, and Josh is the executive director, and he's been there how long? 6 months?
6 or 7 months
Six or 7 months. And there's just all kinds of great stuff happening in Kenmore. I'm also really involved in Kenmore, so I just love seeing the Kenmore BOOlavard just get new businesses and have events happening. So let's actually talk about the events that happened all summer first.
Yeah, so we had 4 First Friday events. Those were First Friday of June, July, August, and September. So we just finished our last one, and we had an average of around 1,000 people at each one. Some had a little more, some a little less. But just so fun between the music. We had a kids zone, which I think you were involved with.
Yes.
And
kids activities and
food vendors and arts and craft vendors and like different stages with music. We had McCutcheon Courtyard, Busbin Courtyard. We had the main stage on 15th Street, beer garden for those that partake. And just a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And I love, Kenmore BOOlavard is kind of known for its music, and so I love that you guys bring that into those First Fridays. And there was so many different kinds of music. We had, rock artists, folk artists, hip hop artists there, and something for everyone, right?
Yeah, and the BOOlavard Historic District, it has deep roots with music. And we kind of think of ourselves as the up-and-coming music row. So I think we have about 14 different music-related businesses between music venues, music schools, music retail. There's a lot going on musically. There
is. That's really cool. I love that. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got into this position and why you're passionate about it.
I had a big career change. Actually, I was doing this type of work before. I was doing video production. I had Joshua Tree Productions for about 20 years. But I
ready for something new?
I was ready for something. I was also doing a lot of real estate with my wife. My wife and I were doing real estate, and one of the board members at Better Kenmore, Tina Boyes left to run for city council.
Right.
And
she was in your position before.
And so when that position opened up, they actually asked me to throw my hat in the ring. And I thought, geez, that's a kind of a crazy, I've never even worked for a nonprofit, much less been the executive director.
Right.
But I've been like a producer director for video productions.
Right.
So
you thought, well, maybe that would be interesting, right?
You know what though, between the real estate and video production, which also kind of opens out into the whole world of marketing and advertising, because that's a lot of what we do at Better Kenmore is marketing and advertising, promoting the BOOlavard, and hosting events. Like before I would host movie screenings. Now we're hosting First Fridays and other things like that. And we work with the property owners. We help matchmake with business owners and try to attract business owners to come to the BOOlavard. And we also acquire and renovate buildings ourselves. So we're actually doing real estate development.
Which is really fun. And and so you're actually using all of your past skills.
Yeah,
it all came together, right?
Yeah, once they explained it, I was like, oh, that does make sense.
It does make sense. So let's go ahead and talk about what you're going to be doing this year. There's some exciting things coming up. We're going to be making some changes too. So let's share.
Okay, so just things coming up. Our last First Friday already happened, but we have Trunk or Treat on the BOOlavard.
Yes.
So it's like BOOlavard.
It's fun. And it's going to be a little bit different. So if anyone's watching and they've been to Trunk or Treat in Kenmore before, this is going to be new. So explain to us.
Yeah, so it's on Saturday, October 28th, and it's co-sponsored by a few of the different organizations and businesses. So they'll start around Just a Dad for Akron, and then they'll go and their costumes will be judged at the Kenmore Branch Library. They'll continue up the BOOlavard and do the trunk or treating, cross over, and then on the way back, they'll stop in at the Rialto, which will be like a very fun, kid-friendly haunted house.
Yes, I love that. That's fun.
And then when they circle back to the library, then their costumes, then they'll get awards for their costumes. So it's kind of like a whole event.
They get to go around the BOOlavard, get some candy,
Yep.
get to have some fun. I love that the businesses get involved.
Yeah.
The Kenmore Library is also really amazing about getting involved in different activities that are going on. I know they provided the bookmobile all summer long,
Yep.
And hosted hip hop artists too.
Yeah,
So let's go ahead and share about some of the other things. You were saying there's a really exciting musician coming to the Boulevard.
Yeah, so let's see, September 22nd, we have this guy named Tommy Stinson. He was the bass player for The Replacements back in, I think, the late 70s, early 80s, and then he was the bass player for Guns N' Roses for 20 years. So he has his own band, and he's going to be at Buzzbin, so that's really a big deal.
It's really exciting.
I think that I'm pretty sure the Summit FM is going to get involved somehow, just because it's kind of like having a celebrity in town, right?
Exactly.
And we're really happy that of all the places that he would come to the Boulevard.
That he chose to do that. That's great.
And then in early October, I think October 7th, we have another ribbon cutting because we have another new business coming to the Boulevard. They're
Always exciting.
I mean, Reggie Ray's Barbecue opened up sort of quietly, but their barbecue is amazing.
Okay, where is that?
And that's basically right next to the Rialto.
Okay.
To the right of the Rialto.
Perfect.
But then we had Etta Mae Smith Dance Studio, which was like a legacy dance studio, and her kids were famously in the Rockettes and all that. So when she sold the building, she was it meant a lot to her that it continued to be a dance studio. So that's what's happening on, I think it's October 7th, we're gonna have the ribbon cutting for the Center Dance plus Yoga Studio.
No, that's so exciting, and I love that for her that there was able to be another dance studio
And that's gonna
in
continue.
that building. That's really cool.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, I guess this is kind of like bigger, longer term news, but we fought really hard. Some of the work we do is advocacy work, and we really advocated to the Akron Public Schools to bring Miller South 4th through 8th grade visual and performing arts school.
I also know about that because I have a child there, and we also were advocating to bring it to Kenmore, and excited that it's coming to Kenmore.
Yes, and so that, along with Pfeiffer Elementary, will be on the campus of where the old Kenmore High used to be, which is exactly 1 block north of the Boulevard Historic District, 13th to 16th Street, which, by the way, is on the National Register of Historic Districts.
Very cool, very cool.
So, but having that, all those like visual and performing arts students come to the neighborhood really just bolsters what we were already trying to do, which is grow into an arts district,
Yes.
you know?
And I think, I just foresee so many cool collaborations in the future, maybe with some of these businesses, this dance studio coming in, all of these, music studios, the Rialto, there could just be really cool collaborations with some of the visual and performing arts students, for sure.
Absolutely, and also we have small venues, so like Buzzbin and Rialto each hold around 100.
Right.
But having the Miller South Auditorium there, hopefully available for community events, gives us potentially an auditorium that can hold, 500, 700 students. I don't know how many it holds now, but
absolutely
allows us to do bigger things.
Yeah. Very cool. So for people who don't really know too much about what a community development corporation does, I think you've shared a lot of the things that you work on in the community, but go ahead and just give us the short version of what you do in the community.
So community development corporations are all very different and unique.
Okay.
Ours is unique in that it's focused around this Boulevard business district, this historic business district. So it's very compact. And in a lot of ways, we can be like, okay, here's the public space.
Right.
That's one of the things, is working in the public space. The other thing is working with the property owners and the business owners.
Okay.
And the third thing is promoting, marketing the Boulevard, and having and hosting events to bring people to the Boulevard.
Right, absolutely.
So those are kind of like if you put them in 3 big buckets. So in the public space, we've done a lot to brand the Boulevard. If you actually come down, you'll see it says BLVD, Boulevard Historic District.
You've got the signs now.
We've got the signs.
Yep.
We actually have huge threshold signs on the way.
Okay.
They're going to be like, welcome to Boulevard Historic
that's
District.
exciting.
And it says Kenmore vertically.
Oh, I love that.
As you're entering on either side. So there's that kind of thing. We do a lot of beautification. The Boulevard is very special. It's an example of form-based code. And they're talking a lot about this, the codes, the zoning in Akron. Form-based code means...
I was going to say, you'll have to explain that to me because I don't know that term.
It's more related to the aesthetics of the Boulevard as opposed to use-based. So when you come down, when you enter the Boulevard, you feel a certain way. It has a certain feeling. So it is historic.
It is.
And when you walk in, it's like the way, it's not one building, it's the way all of the buildings work together. It's like the geometry of the space. And so when we enhance that by planting flowers.
Yep.
And
I know you have trash pickup days.
We have trash pickup days.
Yes.
And we light the boulevard. So we're going to do on first Friday in December is light the boulevard. We're going to light up all the trees on the medians. We work with the shop owners to, you know, make their storefronts.
Do fun windows and things like that.
Windows and all that kind of thing.
And I love how much art there is also
that too
on the boulevard. I mean, there are murals and, you know, graffiti that's beautiful, like that's supposed to be there.
Sorry, it's a little warm today.
Oh no, it is warm, absolutely. So yeah, I can absolutely see what you're saying, and I love that that's a part of what you guys do there. And then of course we already talked about, you know, the events and how you also help business owners. And so that's really, really great work that you're doing. If someone is interested, or maybe they're watching this and they live in Kenmore and they're like, wow, I didn't even know all of that was going on, but I'd like to get involved. I know you do things that involve volunteers and things like that. How can they get in touch with you?
betterkenmore.org.
Okay.
There they'll find the contact information. Probably they can reach out to me directly, or also our community liaison, Alicia West.
Perfect.
And there are tons of different types of volunteer opportunities for people of all ages, for kids, for adults, for the elderly. So that's a great way to get involved.
And do you guys have social media so we can follow that?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. I think we will be starting a TikTok for the youngins.
Yep,
for the
yep,
youngsters.
going for it, gonna do it.
For the youngsters.
And then is that all Better Kenmore CDC? Is that how we find you?
Oh gosh, you're gonna get me there. I'm not really.
That's
I
okay.
don't do the social media, so I don't.
It's perfect. We'll find it and we'll make sure we get it on there for you. So I'm sure that if someone Googled Better Kenmore CDC on there.
On Instagram, it's Kenmore, Ohio.
Okay, perfect.
On Facebook, I'll have to remember.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Josh. We had a great time chatting. I love all that's going on in Kenmore with the BOOlavard. Really appreciate you and all the work you do.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say to people as we leave?
I was going to say, I don't know how much more time. How much time do we have? Because one of the big initiatives, and I think part of the reason that they hired me, is that in the coming years, I want to develop a community real estate investment model in Kenmore. So, you know, the concept of a real estate investment group is just a group of people who come together to invest in real estate.
In property.
And in this case, community investment means that there's a low point of entry. So your average person in Kenmore or outside of Kenmore, if you live in Akron, but maybe you have roots in Kenmore, and you want to own a little piece of the boulevard, you know, we're hoping to be able to buy more buildings and have them community owned.
I really love that, because then it also brings people together. It reminds me of this movie that I watched where this whole community actually bought a racehorse. I won't go down the line of the movie, but then they all got together, and it was just such an amazing story of how they work together. And I feel like it would be the same kind of thing. This would be all these community members coming together to care for a building, to care for their own community, and I think that's a wonderful idea. So I'm excited for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. It was really great talking with Josh today, and I hope that you will go to Better Kenmore CDC's website and check it out and volunteer if you are living in Kenmore, or even if you're from surrounding areas but you want to get involved. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.